Hello, creepy crawlies, and welcome to another episode of Ice Cream Queens. And without hesitation, tonight I am going to bring in my co host, Kat Malone and Lauren Knight. Okay,
Hi.
we're a little out of order, but that's okay. That's okay.
Hello.
How is
Hi.
everybody doing?
Doing good.
Good.
Yay!
Yay.
So, did anybody do anything fun this weekend?
I just noticed my tongue is blue. Sorry. Okay.
Why is your tongue blue? What did you do?
We ocean water from Sonic.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what in the world?
Sorry.
Sounds good.
We did family photos today.
Oh, cool.
And it took like
Okay.
all day long.
A toddler.
Yeah, toddler, a middle child, a teenage child, another middle child, an older teenage child. Oh gosh, how old is he now? 6 months old. It was an ordeal. I got to do makeup on everyone,
Fun.
which was fun.
I'm sure they look glorious.
We will see. I feel like I'm blurry. Anyway, but yeah, we always do a normal family photo looking like the Robinsons, and then we always do a joke family photo. This year we did PJs. I think my favorite shot we did was we had everyone in their PJs all laid out on the couch, and we did like an overshot of every single person like this, and I'm going to label it like Christmas 2021. Every single person's on some kind of device just staring at it. So that's going to be fun.
That seems to be a very, very normal situation in every household right now.
Yeah.
My favorite is when you're like talking to them from the other room on their device, and it's like, just get up and come in here, please. Just come speak to me. So, Kat, did you do anything fun this weekend?
Well, as far as doing stuff, me and my youngest son, we made a little gingerbread house to put at the Pink Palace. So it'll be on display until after the new year there. But you will clearly know which one is ours when you go and you see it. It won't be all bright and Christmassy. It'll have a
The Addams Family.
It'll have our own little flair on there, so you'll definitely know which ones the Malones are. Yes,
Well, I mean,
absolutely.
the whole Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, it's a theme.
Yeah,
Christmas
absolutely.
doesn't have to be bright and cheery. We could put Krampus on there.
Good.
Okay, so you said that it's entered in the Pink Palace at a Pink Palace event. Pink Palace is one of the local museums here, and it's part of one of the big network of like just museums and art galleries. And so, what is the event? What is it? Tell us a little bit about that.
The event is going to be the Enchanted Forest that they do every year. So they do where companies will sponsor the event by decorating trees, and then also they have like gingerbread houses people have built and donated in, and I guess, and you have like where you go sit on Santa's lap if you want. But
Can we do
typically
that?
it's just yeah, you can.
We should get a photo for Ice Cream Queens of us on Santa's lap. I mean, I'd probably break the chair with me on there, but I'll sit to the side.
No, you won't. No, because we always, like, our family, we get like all four of us to sit in Santa's lap.
Yes.
It would be creepy awesome, maybe.
Okay, so we have a comment here. What's my favorite culinary indulgence? Pizza. Lying on the street. I'd fight for it if I had to crush your enemies, see the grease driven before you, and hear the someone help me.
Know. Lamentation
Of the street rats.
We need to stop drinking already.
I can't words for garbage.
It's okay.
I'm not good at wording.
Speaking of the Pink Palace, if you're local and you are a singer, the Pink Palace, by the way, has one of those fun, secret, perfect spots. If you go in and you go to it's like a giant open area. There's almost like no exhibits in this area, but it has the double staircases coming up around the side. And if you stand directly in the bottom and sing, the acoustics are magic.
Oh, really?
What if you're not a singer? What if you want to just
Still magic. You can
go destroy some people's ears, like
go up in there and
I'm gonna
balk like a
taste it.
chicken.
Okay, so we did the family photo thing too, but we did it for like individual photos. We have an event coming up for the Murdering Crows on the 18th of December, which we're still kind of in the planning phases, but that's coming up. But so my oldest daughter, who is a musician who has not played in many years, it has agreed to open for us. And I'm really excited about this because I really want her to get bitten by the music bug again. So we took her out and she did some photos. And of course, our youngest child is a budding musician just starting out. So she had her bass with her. She has a purple bass that she named Prince.
Aww.
I know. Isn't that adorable? I'm like, that is so cute. All right, so quick chatter. Okay, so have any of you heard about the new casting for an upcoming movie? It's a working title, so it's nothing really that is set in stone. There's not a lot of information, but it's called the Jim Jones. It's either called Jim Jones or Jim Jones Project, depending on where you read it. And Leonardo DiCaprio has been cast as Jim Jones.
He's gonna kill it. I think he's gonna kill it.
No pun intended. I'm. What do you think about that? I mean, obviously, you think he's going to do a good job with it. I mean,
yeah.
Kat, what are your thoughts?
I think so too. He does a good job with pretty much, I think, everything that he does.
Agreed. Didn't he buy the rights to like what was it? A movie on H.H. Holmes as well? He really wanted to play that part too.
Yes, actually, that was kind of an interesting. When I was reading the articles, evidently the article about this particular casting situation, evidently he's not going to play that role anymore. I don't know if he has turned it over. I know, because that's between the two. I'm like, H.H. Holmes, Jim Jones. I mean, I can see him more as H.H. Holmes because he has that, historic figure. He's done a lot of historical movies in the past. So, but.
I really think with some like hair dye, a really good kind of makeup job, he could probably really hit Jim Jones. He's that caliber of an actor.
I agree. I have no issues with it. I'm here for this. And I mean, I've watched a lot of the documentaries about Jonestown and about Jim Jones. And so I'm very interested to see where this will go.
If you had a recommendation,
I am too.
If you had a documentary recommendation for our viewers, if they're interested in learning more about it, I have a recommendation. I don't know if y'all do.
Oh, go right ahead.
Stephanie Harlow. If you look her up on YouTube, I think it's like a 4 or 5, maybe a 6-part episode. But she goes not just like, hey, here's what happened. She's like, here's who this person is. Now let's backtrack and learn kind of who his parents were and how he was raised and how the situations got him from here to here. And she goes through everything and walks you through every step of the way as to how it even came about getting to that level. Absolutely adore her work.
I will have to. Stephanie Harlow. I'm trying to figure out if that was that a, not Netflix, but there was a network that had a multi-episode documentary about Jonestown, and it was really I've heard really good things about it. And I remember watching most of it. I really hate to say that. I probably didn't watch all of it, but
I don't think she was in that. I know she was one of the people that they interviewed in the Eliza Lamb documentary on Netflix. Like all of the true crime. Yeah. All of the true crimer people that they did interviews with and had done, their own episodes on what happened there with all that. I think she was one of the people that they interviewed on that.
Now, was she part of the? Now there was a documentary about Elisa Lam and about the Cecil Hotel that had the hotel manager, and there was a lot of she caught a lot of flack over her interview. Are we talking about the same one, or is it a different?
I think that's the same one. Yeah, because they did interviews with different true crimers who do episodes, the people who had kind of already covered it. I don't remember what the point. I think it was more along the lines of kind of like talking about people trying to solve it outside of the police and all of that. I think she was one of the people that they did an interview with.
Willa Schuyler says that he'll do amazing. But there's a harsher role than Howard Hughes, but that's a harsher role than Howard Hughes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
Gary Oldman should play H.H. Holmes. I can see that too.
I could see. I was very much looking forward to DiCaprio doing it. I really thought that was just a perfect casting, and to hear that he was interested in it, I was like, yes. Because all right, don't think I'm the crazy person here, but that's my favorite serial killer.
H.H. Holmes? Yes. No, we all have favorite serial killers. We all do. It's just part of who we are. I mean, as a creepy girl, we do that stuff. Now, I kind of think it's interesting that we're talking about Jim Jones, because when I saw that, I wasn't necessarily thinking about how it tied into our topic this evening. But, we are coming up. We've got, 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. And I thought this would be a great time to come in and talk about food and horror and all of the things that make food either wonderful or just disgusting in horror movies. And
I think drink goes along with food. I can see the tie into Jim Jones there.
I can too. And here to help us discuss tonight, things that you probably never want to put in your pie hole, is Abby Normal, who is a pinup friend of mine. Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having me. Good.
Welcome. Why don't you take a minute and tell us a little bit, or tell the people who are watching a little bit about yourself and how you kind of, not necessarily got roped into doing this, but, just kind of.
Yeah. Well, I actually got to meet your lovely self a few years ago when we were doing a pinup shoot. At the time, it was Kissy Face Photography, Carla Cruz.
Yes.
Now she has transitioned to Carla Cruz and does a wider variety. She is amazing. If you are in the Clarksville, Tennessee area, see her. Oh, I love her.
I agree.
But we got to do an awesome witchy shoot together, which was so much fun. I had done vintage photography and pinup just kind of as fun for a while. I've stepped back from it now a little bit, but I still adore it. Let's see. I have had a love of all things spooky and macabre since a very young age. I was that weird child, I think probably all of us cool people as adults were that weird child when we were little. So I think that tied in.
I agree.
Let's see. My husband, Johnny Blaze, he is amazing. He is a graphic artist who also does a lot of vintage art. And then I have a 12-year-old little girl and a 9-year-old little girl who are just as spooky as me, and I love it.
Yay! Passing down those creepy genes.
You've got to.
You have to raise them right. You really do. Now, one of the things that I find very interesting is I have been following you on Instagram for many, many years. And yes, we did meet doing a incredible witchy shoot.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Oh my God, it was. It was an all-day process, but it was a whole lot of fun. And the images afterwards they were just glorious. And the one of you and I together is probably my favorite that I've seen in any of them.
And the creepy shadows on the wall. I loved it.
Oh, I know. I loved it. It was great. But every year during October, you do basically a Halloween themed month of dinners and all of these incredible. This group here, we cook, we eat, we like to make creepy things. And so I was just like, oh, she's like a perfect fit for our group.
Yeah. We started doing that probably when my oldest was about 3 and really starting to explore food a bit more. We do tend to keep it a little more PG at the time. As they're getting older, I can incorporate a little bit more of the horror and gore aspect of it, but we still end up doing a lot of family-friendly things. But, one of my favorites, it was the promo picture used for this. I make demon hair pasta with sacrificial blood sauce. Ooh. And I love it. It's basically just black pasta. You can either, use black beans or squid ink, or just food coloring. I'm all about quick and easy with it some nights. But that with a really nice thick marinara sauce, and it just turns out great. It's one of our favorite spooky things. Meatloaf brains, all kinds of fun stuff.
Oh my gosh, that sounds great. So do you
Yeah.
like, I've seen like you carve potatoes to make little skull faces. I mean, she's so detailed and intricate when she's doing this. It's absolutely incredible.
Thank
Which
you.
actually, I'm going to use that. It's not a good transition. I hate to say this, but so we have an audience participation question, which if the Cabana boy will flash it up for us.
Ooh.
What is the most disgusting thing someone has ever talked you into eating? We'll keep that PG-ish.
Food wise.
Food wise. I think the most conventionally disgusting, because I have had things that tasted worse, but they were normal foods. But like most conventionally disgusting would probably be fried spiders, maybe. Like it was flavor wise not great, but not bad. It's just kind of like a lot of crunch there.
Where's that conventional?
I'm like,
where are you going? That's conventional.
Okay, so I meant more that like society would think was disgusting, because I definitely have had things that tasted worse, but they were normal foods.
Yeah,
you know,
same.
stuff that just wasn't prepared great.
Yeah, same.
Yes. Yeah. All right, Lauren, I know you've eaten some gross stuff.
I like all of it. I'm that person that's like, give me some raw oysters and some escargot. Let's do this.
Escargot is so good, though.
It's so good. And every time I tell people, like, no, dude, try the snails, they're like, no, it's gonna be slimy. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's delicious. Just eat it. Yeah. Oh, someone got boiled raccoon. It did not go well.
Boiled, any meat boiled wouldn't go well.
Pickled pig's feet. See,
I don't
know why that made it worse.
Oh, I know what mine is now. That reminded me. Okay, so
oh God, I'm gonna get sick this episode. I can tell already.
I wrote on
the top of downhill.
About ate a bug.
I think we've all eaten a bug or two.
Oh,
I think I ate a bug today.
Too. So, okay, I'm going to tell my bug story. That one's more fun than the gross one. I was getting in the car with my toddler, and I was opening the doors, getting in, shutting the door, and like something, I had taken a big breath, and something went flying down my nose, and I was like, what was that? Oh my gosh. And I could not figure out what it was. So we're driving down the road, and I'm sitting here like trying to do the whole sniffle thing. Finally, I start coughing, and I cough out a spider.
Oh my God.
my daughter was like, Mommy, what is that? And I said, it's okay, baby. It's just a spider. I have the window down trying to throw it out the window over here. And now every time I cough or something, or I have like a coughing fit, she's like, Mommy, do you have a spider in your nose? No, baby. No, I don't have a spider in my nose.
And that was one of those things you had to keep calm because you're trying to reassure her. Oh no, it's just a spider. It's okay.
It's a spider. It was just through my nose cavity and back out through my mouth. That's all. It's fine. Everything's fine here.
Okay, Kat, how about you? What have you had that's gross? That's nasty.
I'm gonna have to say, like, we'll go back to conventional, like livers, like fried livers. Absolutely, just I know people like them, but I can't do it.
You do like them?
I love fried liver.
I do too.
Somebody says Rocky Mountain oysters.
My.
Yeah, I don't think I would be.
And
that's
all
right.
a deep level
Rocky Mountain oysters are usually either, I think there might be cow, but they're usually they're balls. I don't know how else to say it.
Balls.
They're
okay.
Yeah.
I'd still try it.
I mean, I think when you have a hot dog, maybe there's some of that snuck in there. I would imagine.
I think so too.
But
yeah.
You might.
Is that hard part that you always get?
Yeah, that's the chew on in that a little bit. A little. Sorry. Okay, so I grew up in the South, and a guy was absent from work for a few days. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. A guy was a few days. Turned out his wife ran out of flour, found some on the porch, couldn't read. It wasn't flour.
Turned out to be spackle. That reminds me of like
not even the
Spackle fried chicken. I'm laughing with him. We're laughing with
That's
that.
really.
That's
not even the same size bag, even as flour. Like spackle would come in.
Didn't people but didn't people do that in olden days? Like the bread makers, did they used to stretch out their ingredients and add like really not great ingredients in there?
And there was always fillers. I mean, that's the whole concept of
and then some of the remedies from then, like turpentine, to take care of it. If you were like, you're sick, have turpentine. This poison will kill it.
Well, the whole idea of that's what I was going to say. Keeping a little bit of arsenic in a compact and then licking it to keep that deathly pale pallor. I mean, Victorian women were known to do that. So there were a lot of things that were considered either beauty regimens or healing techniques that were just deadly. So
you're not feeling good? That's okay. Have some cocaine.
You'll be feeling fine. We promise you.
And
then drink it with this Coca-Cola
when you're done.
That's if you can feel anything at all.
Okay, so I know this is probably an urban legend, but wasn't cocaine one of the original ingredients in Coca-Cola?
Yes,
absolutely.
Okay,
it was.
so
That wasn't legend. That was real.
That wasn't okay.
Like everything. I actually watched a video about this not too long ago. Everything back then had cocaine in it, to the point to where one of the older ladies was talking about it. She made a TikTok because she kind of grew up in that era.
The area.
And she went from talking about how all of the women went from being, itty bitty tiny and full of energy to get all of the stuff done and all of the things done. And then they outlawed doing all of that. And then she watched all of her friends and everyone go from like a size 0 to a size 16 in like 4 months.
Wait. Hey, we're gonna have to go back a couple of comments.
I'm sorry, I was talking over it.
No, you go ahead.
No, I think
somebody said cocaine makes the spackle go down easier. I love the comments that we get on this show. Oh my gosh.
Like our own form of Reddit right here. I know. Y'all just blast away down there.
So growing up in the South, we eat a lot of nasty stuff. And my mother used to prepare. Oh, it's going to be good. As soon as you go to my mom, my mother used to prepare pig brains with eggs. And I used to eat them.
I'd do it.
I enjoyed them.
How would you cook it? Like,
they come canned. You can buy them in a can. I have no idea. I don't know how she ate. I don't know how they were prepared. I don't recall. I cut it out of my memory. It's gone. But evidently, I used to love them.
Sounds like it tastes very spammy.
I'm thinking
we had that growing up as a kid. Now, spam was that was a staple.
Yeah. Well, I mean, spam is what, processed meat? The cabana boy upstairs told me that they would probably be sauteed with scrambled eggs with hot sauce.
Sauteed good. Tell your mama make me some pig's brains. I want to try it.
Right.
She probably would.
We just need to have a party, and we all bring that dish and little potluck.
You bringing that up actually reminded me of a dish I had heard of. I think it's called balutes or something like that. It's essentially a boiled duck embryo, and you actually eat the embryo out of the egg. I had nightmares about that after I first heard about it.
I'm convinced that we could probably sit here all night long and talk about the disgusting things that we have probably tried or eaten. I think I still have a lollipop with a scorpion in it somewhere. So
I remember those.
Yeah. So
like the tequila with the worm in the bottle.
Yeah. Have you ever eaten the worm?
No, I've not.
Found tequila with the worm.
Yeah, same. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've found it either. Speaking of like bugs and stuff, do y'all remember that show? What was that show? Like Fear
Factor.
Where they had to eat like
that was awful.
the roaches and things.
Yeah. They weren't
would always
roaches. They
get
were like
really close with the mic so you could hear the crunch.
Ew, that's what got me. It wasn't so much the fact that they were eating the bugs, because I know that depending on, I mean, if you're in an environment where you have to eat to survive, that there are certain insects, yes, you can eat them. They will add some nourishment. Anyway, I'm like, bye. It's frightening to think of how much you would have to eat, but I mean, it was always the crunch. It's like that was the one thing you can't say. I'm like, I can't get past the crunch.
And see, the crunch doesn't get me. Like, it was the part where they would bite it in half, and you know when you stepped on like a cockroach, that like white stuff squirts out. It was like that squirting out of their mouth as they were crunching. You're welcome for this lovely mental image tonight. It reminds me of that scene from Freddy Krueger where he turns the chicken to the cockroach and then squishes her.
Oh gosh.
Fish. What is Luke fish?
I don't know. We need to look that
Live
fish.
Loot
live
fish.
cured fish.
Live cured fish.
That sounds.
I didn't think you could eat anything that would be cured.
I think we're all making the same face right
it's
now.
like, what is this? I am grossed out and intrigued.
I know. It's like, I really want to, yeah.
I don't want to eat that, but I want to at least smell it and turn up my nose at it once. Come on.
Well, you know what? And you were talking about Freddie, and one of the things that the whole concept of our show tonight is we were going to talk about how food plays into horror, because it does have such an intricate role. And there are so many horror movies and so many even non-horror that pull in food as a scare factor. And I think Nightmare on Elm Street was probably one of the first ones that I remember.
There's so many scenes. Yeah.
There were several scenes. There was the scene with the feast. And then of course there was the pizza.
Yep, there's the pizza. I wish we'd have gotten a scene like, because all of the meatballs on this pizza were people's like faces and their souls trapped in the meatballs. And he stabs one at one point and he's just like with the so good. But yeah, there was the feast scene too. I think we might have a picture of that one where he's shoveling the food into her mouth. There's also the giant. All right, this one was very controversial when it came out. It's the giant Freddy snake.
Ooh.
Oh,
that eats the girl as he's eating her, and a lot of people had issues with the snake look of this Freddy worm thing. Quotation marks. I'm heavily, if you are listening to this via podcast, I am heavily air quoting here with my fingers.
Are you implying that it might have been a bit phallic?
It was a little, yeah.
Just a hair.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has a lot of food scenes. There's a lot in general. I remember when we first brought up the topic, the first thing that popped into my mind was The Lost Boys.
Oh my goodness. And that has
Yeah.
turned into like bumper stickers, and there we go. They're only noodles, Michael.
Yeah.
I have seen T-shirts with the Chinese food box, the box on it. Oh my God, it's like, and there is a pop vinyl now of David with the food box. I want it so bad. Yeah,
I love how they actually incorporated it into the What We Do in the Shadows movie.
Yes.
Like there's this whole scene where they copycat that, and it's these awkward bumbling vampires like, eat your worms. It's really biscotti, but eat your worms.
It's biscuit.
Biscotti.
Yeah, speaking of worms, and you, DL, had mentioned movies earlier that were not horror but use that aspect. Mm-hmm. I was watching Jack the other day because I was kind of introducing my children to more Robin Williams movies.
Yes.
And there is a scene in there where Robin Williams and the kids in the clubhouse make this disgusting pile of stuff that he has to eat. It's the initiation, the boys' initiation thing. I don't know. I don't get boys, but They throw
Lemons.
worms in there, like live worms, and watching them make this and then like seeing him pick it up and just chowing down on it. The movie is a comedy. It's supposed to be hilarious and funny. It's a Robin Williams movie. I mean, not saying he only did comedies, but
No,
you
but-
understand.
Yeah.
I was almost throwing up watching this scene. And then later they recreated it again and had Bill Cosby initiated into the group and eating that one was a little more entertaining, seeing Bill Cosby eat crap, but that's just my personal opinion.
Agreed.
Well, okay, so we're talking now. I know that this is a horror. This is horror kind of within that genre, but I am a huge fan of Dexter, by the way. Which the new. I don't. Can we squeal a little bit?
I'm so excited.
Dexter is back. I've seen the first episode. Absolutely love it. I have questions. We're not going to discuss the questions because I feel like that could be something for later. But the original opening sequence, because I went back and watched a couple of episodes, and Cabana Boy and I were actually talking about the original opening sequence and that whole getting ready for work, and it was all food. I mean, it was him cutting into the ham. It was the blood orange. Yeah,
blood
it
orange,
was.
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have that, and it always, it was like, let's zoom out and see what it really is. And it was a bit disgusting in the way that it was presented initially, but it wasn't. And of course, you always have Hannibal.
Yes.
Oh,
Hannibal.
That one was one of my biggest ones that I remember after The Lost Boys. That one was just the juxtaposition of him standing there so, refined and poised while he is casually feeding brains, to Ray Liotta's character. I was like,
His
what
own
just
brains.
happened? Yes, his brains. He had no idea. And then I felt so bad for Clarice being like at the other end and she's drugged and can't do anything. And just imagining seeing that. I mean, it set the whole tone for that scene. It was insane.
that was such a good scene. Oh my god.
Mhm.
So memorable.
Do you follow that up with the scene of him on the plane and the child that approaches him? It's been a while since I've seen that movie, but the child who approaches him and he gives a piece of the brain to the child. So you're like, I'm like, oh, we're making little bitty cannibals. Look at this. This is kind of Hannibal, I think. Now, in addition to the movies, because I mean, the movies were incredible, but I'm also a fan of, and I haven't watched the entire series, but I've watched several episodes of the Hannibal series with Mads Mikkelsen.
I thought I was going to be so mad at the casting on that because he didn't look anything like Anthony Hopkins, but
yes,
I watched a few episodes and I was like, no, I'm fine with this. He's great. Okay, good.
I want dinner with him. I'll go.
I love
Okay, and
when
so
they
here's
hit
my question:
casting like that.
Would you go have dinner if you knew who Hannibal was and he were to invite you, either version of him, Anthony Hopkins or Mads Mikkelsen, and you don't have to specify which one, or you can, it doesn't matter. Would you have dinner with them? Knowing
he's a cannibal? Do I know that that's what he's serving me, or are we just like hanging out and he's making a chicken?
He's making thigh and clay.
Oh my.
We don't know thigh and
I'd do it.
See, I lean that way too, but I don't know.
If I'm cooking the dinner, yes. If he's cooking the dinner, no.
But have you seen some of the dinners that he lays out during the show? And I mean, they're beautiful.
He is an impeccable chef. It's just like, what?
I'm just going to eat the vegetables. Is that okay?
This might be human. It might be lamb. I don't know, but it just smells really good. And you're a great cook. So let's just do this, okay?
Oh, and I love the fact that they use this where he really felt justified in it because everything he did, he felt like he was improving the world. It's horrible, insane, and brilliant. I love it. It's like chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's like if Deadpool wasn't if Deadpool was more refined and also like more evil.
Okay, so I
True.
would have to know if he's eating someone else or and not me.
And not
LOL.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like cooking for Hannibal might be like cooking for Gordon.
I can agree with that. Minus
could see
the
that.
yelling, he would just give you these disapproving looks and gentle rebuffs for it.
If
I
I
can
were,
just-
if I was a detective in the case I was working on interests him, then yes. Okay.
I can just imagine like him cooking a regular dinner, asking me to go pick out the wine. I come back with like 3 to 5 because I'm like, I don't know what pairs. I don't know
What goes with people?
with this.
Soylent Green. iZombie was great for. Oh, okay. So yes. Have any of you watched iZombie?
I have not.
I've gotten to see a few episodes, but life got crazy kind of at that point, and TV went more on hold,
Oh yeah.
which happens so much.
Yes. iZombie, if you haven't had a chance to watch it, it is a great show. But basically, the main character is a coroner and or a medical examiner, I do believe, and she is eating the brains of people who have died. And she gets flashbacks of what happens, but the scenes in which they are preparing, they spend a lot of time actually prepping food, and it's interesting to watch. And they kind of talk about, it's not like watching, some anime shows. It's like the food preparation is just over the top. It's not like that, but you do get an idea of what the food is that she's preparing, and it's incredible. So
Yeah, that definitely would be a good one.
it's a lot. That one was a lot of fun. I actually ended up binge watching that. I mean, just start to finish.
I need to. I have so many on the to watch list.
I've recently,
Yeah.
okay, so this is completely off topic, but we were talking about Dexter, so I have to talk about it now. I recently got into You, which if you have not seen
Yes.
You, it is like if the Dexter show was less about serial killers and more about a stalker, but there's also killing. It's really good. It's, there's like the love aspect, there's the drama, there's the killing. It's got all of it. It's very good. I would
It
recommend.
is a lot of fun. Oh, that one is a lot of fun. I think I've watched maybe the first 2 seasons of that, but I haven't gotten any, because I think there's like several seasons that I didn't.
3.
There's 3. Okay. Yeah, I need to probably pick that up and start watching it again.
And then it provides such good memes for the internet.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So I do know that Lauren had prepared an interesting topic, more or less, for this evening to kind of go alongside, because, we were taking bets at our house about how long it would take us to get to cannibals and how long it would take us to get to real ones in 40 minutes.
It's been that long already. Oh my goodness. This show is going by fast. Okay, so I got this book from a friend of mine. Her name was Katie. She died a couple years ago. I went to her funeral and I was like, hey, talking to her fiance, and I was like, so I have this book I borrowed from her, and he was like, what's it about? And I was like, this serial killer guy, and he's like, oh, she'd want you to have it. And so this is my memento from my friend Katie. It's about Armin Muse, and it's kind of like, it's the story of what happened with him and his victim told as if it were like a book and not a documentary, like writing it like in their points of view and such. So I'm just going to give kind of like a quick go over of what happened with this guy. He lived in Germany. From a young age, he was very, very obsessed with different sorts of fairy tales that involved people eating. Like, he was really into Hansel and Gretel and the whole idea of, fattening up Hansel so the witch could eat him. And a lot of stuff happened with his dad and his mom. His dad was a lot younger than his mom. They did not have a good relationship. The mom was very overpowering, very domineering. So the dad kind of just like up and skipped as soon as he could. He did have 2 older siblings, but they were much older. They also just kind of were like deuces and left the house. So it was mainly him and his mom growing up from, I think he was about 9 or 10. He was a very social kid, would play with all of the other kids. When this happened, he kind of introverted a bit, had his own friends, and would play by himself, own imaginary friends, all that jazz. He got obsessed with this idea that, well, if only I could like keep my imaginary friends forever. How would I do that? How would I become one with my imaginary friends? And so from a young age, he had the idea of, well, you know what? If I ate them, they'd be a part of me and we'd be together forever. Continuing on with the whole, kind of obsessive fairy tale thing of his youth. So he had this idea for a really long time. He did try to live a relatively normal life for a while. He joined the military. He was, in the military for quite a few many years. He never really had girlfriends or anything like that. He was kind of a loner, didn't really, talk well to the opposite sex. At one point, I think his friend even mentioned in a documentary, like, he came up to me and he asked me if I thought he was gay. And I was like, I don't know. You have to figure that out for you. And then on the side, he was like, I mean, we all pretty much knew he was gay, but I think he may have been the last person to figure that out. So he gets back from the military. He moves back in with his mother. They had this giant mansion out in the middle of nowhere. Maybe like neighbors a few miles down the road, 6 or 7 houses around the neighborhood, but lots of woods, lots of nothing. So he gets a job. He does the relatively try to normal life thing. And this is around the time the internet started picking up. And he starts doing that, gets a laptop, starts kind of going to chat rooms, see what's going on in the world. And he finds himself on a chat room about cannibals.
Oh my.
Well, how he finds himself there, I don't know. Maybe just, cannibals. Somehow magically finds himself on a chat room about cannibals. Yes.
I have questions.
Yes.
Where do you even find, just curious. Where do you find a cannibal chat room?
Oh gosh, stuff like that
You
was
probably
everywhere.
Google and
Yeah.
end up there, Donna.
Well,
And back
a lot
then,
of it
probably
was
like AOL search bar and everything.
yeah.
Well, and that's
near me.
That's what I'm
That's
picturing.
all you gotta do.
60
Hit your location,
cannibals near
ping,
me.
ping.
Do you remember the time of age where everyone was like on AOL chat rooms,
Yes,
and everyone
that's what
was
I'm thinking about.
LARPing, and everyone was like role playing and writing on, Red Dragon Inn and all of this stuff? He found a place called, I think one of the main ones was Cannibal Cafe. A lot of the people were there to pretend. They were LARPing. They were like pretending this was real. Oh, I'm a serial killer on my computer in my house.
Oh, yeah.
But he actually wanted to be a can. He wasn't there to play around. He was like, I want to do this. And he decided he wanted to be like the belle of the ball of the internet cannibal cafes. So he would go to the store and buy all of these like chunks of meat and like try and push them into a human form and take pictures of them and put them online. And he's like, look, guys, I killed someone. And everyone's like, oh, congratulations. You're the coolest serial killer ever. And he got all this validation from it. And
I
so
want you to know that's going to replay in my head again and again through the night.
he got all this validation from it, and everyone thinks, oh, obviously he's making it up, whatever. But he really, really did want to do it. So he put out an ad. I don't know if everyone calls him the Craigslist killer. I do not think it was Craigslist. It was just something about kind of like that. Yeah.
It was AOL. We're going to jump over from
pretending they want to eat people, the go-to defense of every good cannibal.
I don't really want to eat them.
Oh, it's just a game. God. Ever heard of role playing?
The nutritional value is basically like drinking a glass of water, and it's like the calories of celery. Why would I want to eat that? Not that I know that.
So he's in all sorry, hang on. Deals,
awkward moment.
Killing me over here. All right. So he's in all of these chat rooms. He decides he wants to write up an actual ad. And he wrote up 2, I believe. One was in German and one was in English. The English one is like, I don't remember the translation of it, but it was very awkward. It was something like, I would like for you to have come dinner with me. Bring your sexy flesh. And something along those lines. He got a few takers.
People.
It was the whole sexy flesh thing. Bring
That's
your
hard,
sexy
though.
flesh.
flirting from now on.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
something like that. It was really bad translation, but at the same
That
time,
is
it
how-
was giggleable.
I'm initiating date night like that from here on out. You
Bring
have
your
dinner
sexy-
with me. Bring your sexy flesh. I'm not going to eat
Once
it.
I get off
promise.
of here, I'm
Oh my
probably going to
God.
tell the husband that I have to.
That would be like that would almost be like a nude dinner party or something, like something just like mm-mm.
Animal pickup lines. Bring your sexy flesh.
Watch that be like completely wrong quoted. I'm just like paraphrasing here.
No,
Someone
I'm
look it
loving
up, put it in the comments. Someone look it up and put it in the comments, whatever the English one was.
Bring your sexy flesh. I'm
Your
liking that.
sexy flesh. It is now forever just gonna be
It is.
bring your sexy flesh.
It's like the nudist colony ads when you I'm guessing, I don't know.
So he did get a few takers. One of the people actually did drive out to his house and like came in and walked around like, hey, let's have dinner and stuff. And then backed out last minute and they're like, hey, I've changed my mind. I don't want you to eat me. And the guy was like, oh, yeah, no, that's cool. I want a willing participant. I want you to want me to eat you. So he let him go. And then they walked out the door and all was happy and good. He wrote another ad he got another ping for the original ad. Sorry, there's floating hair. And his name was Bernard. 1 second, I have it saved here. Brandes, or Burned Brandes. I keep saying Bernard, but Burned Brandes. And he took him up on the offer and he's like, yeah, I've always wanted to be eaten. That sounds like a great time. And so they met. He went to go pick Burned up at the train station. They drove him out to the house in the middle of nowhere. And dude walked in and yes, question.
I'm thinking he may have misunderstood the whole I want to eat you.
No.
Okay. I'm
would
just saying.
You
I'm
would
thinking.
think.
Yeah,
You would
there's
think,
okay.
but
there's some freaks out there. There are definitely some freaks out there.
yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
So we picked him up, took him in. The guy walked inside, like stripped off his clothes as he was walking in, and it's just like, "What do you think of your dinner? Does this look tasty?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, that's cool. Let's sit down and let's talk about it." And in this part right here, it kind of reminds me of the whole 50 Shades of Grey, where they sit down and they're writing out the contract for the dom and sub kind of things. Like, okay, is it okay if I eat your this? Oh no, that's a no. Okay. Can I eat your this? Yes. All right. But the person he was going to eat, he actually had some ideas of his own. He was like, look, I have some things I want done. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. I mean, I'm going to be eating you, so I might as well like give you what you want too. What do you want? Well, I think it'd be really cool if you turned my skull into an ashtray. Yeah, that's a great idea. Skull ashtray. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've always had this like fantasy. Yeah, what's the fantasy, dude? I want you to chop off my junk, cook it, and we eat it together.
Meat and potatoes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's do that.
So he wanted him to eat the meat and potatoes.
with him.
Okay.
Kind of a Hannibal situation. He wanted to eat his own stuff with him. There they are.
Share the meat. Okay. So which
but
one?
They look so sweet together.
So the one
Wait
with
a
the
minute.
glasses is the
Oh my
victim.
God.
That
Okay,
is burned.
So he is sharing the meat and potatoes. Okay.
He wants his meat and potatoes eaten by
Okay, and-
himself as well.
And the smiley guy is wanting to eat the meat and potatoes.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Which
got it.
actually he wasn't big into the whole like eating the junk kind of thing. Whenever he did take him, he had a kill room with like meat hooks and all of this stuff. And they talked about it before. And he was like, hey, dude, do you mind if I videotape this whole thing? Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. We can watch it together while I'm dying. Cool.
Yeah.
So they videotaped all of this. The entire thing is on video. The police have it. There's also a bunch of pictures that were. I'll get to that. But he took him to the kill room. He's like, let's do this. So sawed off the dingle
potatoes.
there.
The Dingledorf. The Dingledorf.
And dude started bleeding everywhere. So he was like, oh man, that's like bloody. Go sit in the bathtub for a little bit and
See if the Dingledorf
gonna-
stops bleeding.
yeah, like go sit in the bathtub for a bit. I'm gonna go cook your junk. So he goes to the kitchen, he cooks up the junk. He chops it up into little pieces, adds some seasonings. You know, you got to add seasonings on there. Comes back and they eat it together. He remarked later he was really disappointed with the first taste of it. It was very rubbery, not at all what he was looking for.
A little gamey.
Yeah, a little gamey. You know, he said it was the texture. It was very rubbery. It was hard to eat, and he was very disappointed with that.
I'm sorry. At this point, I'm picturing Vienna sausages. Is that wrong?
No. Surprised the guy didn't bleed out and was able to do that.
Yeah, they was actually
in the tub and didn't just pass out and die there.
He took a bunch of pills beforehand, like willingly, like, hey, this is going to help you with the pain. Cool, let's drug me. Awesome. And so I'm assuming like maybe the pills helped with the pain or something. He did scream for like 30 seconds, and then about like 30 to 60 seconds in, he was like, oh, it doesn't hurt anymore.
Shock.
Yeah. But Armin expected him to kind of like bleed out. Really want to make a Beavis and Butthead meme based on that picture. Which picture? Hang on. Which picture? Put it in the comments.
Oh, the two guys. Yeah.
Oh. Do it.
Yeah. Eat it. Eat it. Yeah. Eat it. Okay, when I'm cornholio. I am cornholio. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh my god, it's
That's nutty.
Are you taking me to Lake Titicaca?
Well, I have a question. How far did the guy travel from? The one
the one in
the glasses, like, did he come from another country?
I don't remember. I think he was also German, so I think he was the same.
Okay.
Let's see here. He was a computer engineer. I'm not seeing it right here, like on my original page. Someone Google it while I'm talking, because I don't have that in my notes.
You keep on talking. I'm Googling.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far did one travel?
How far did he travel to get eaten?
I'm just curious on that, because that's not
right. All right.
You have no neighbors already, and
Armin was expecting him to kind of like bleed out from this initial thing. So he sat down and he waited and he checked on him like every 30 minutes, every hour, and he just kept bleeding. So he sat down and started reading like a Star Trek book. And he was still just like bleeding and not dying. So he came up to him and he was just like, hey dude, you're not dying fast enough. I'm just gonna like throat. Is that cool with you? Yeah, that's cool, man. Slit the throat. Go for it. So he slits his throat and kills him there. If you watch the interviews, he seems, or he at least says, he has had a lot of internal struggle with that, with the whole, I don't know what to do. I don't want to kill anyone, but gosh, I just really want to eat someone.
It's like, I don't want to kill them. I just want to eat them.
I mean, don't we all face that struggle?
So difficult.
Every day.
So he goes in there, he slits the throat, and then he just starts kind of like chopping off pieces. He puts them on a meat hook. And this is where the pictures come in. He does take pictures as well as the video recording of him doing this stuff. There's like a picture of like the arm area here just on a table with him like hacking it away. There's pictures of the body up on meat hooks with him literally sawing it in half. And he put all of these online afterwards in the cannibal chat rooms to show how cool he was. Guys, look, I did it. I ate someone. And once again, everyone's like, yeah, you're the coolest killer ever. Yes. And they gave him tons of validation.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Did they? I'm just curious because, if you're actually looking at photographs of that, wouldn't they? I would kind of figure people would be like, okay, I'm leaving this room. This is a little bit too real.
I think maybe because he had already posted a bunch of other things that he had like created to make to look like human pieces. They just thought it was like really good prosthetics or really a really well done, fake something. Photoshop. No one had reported him at this point, at least that we know of. They were just like, yes, best cannibal ever. Eat that meat. So for his
I really wish you had had
I'm going to send you a ribbon.
Yes.
He should have looked into tofu designed to resemble human flesh and taste and
interesting.
Magda, it really concerns us that you know this.
I think Magda might have been in this group that
Magda was in the AOL chat group.
She might have been the original viewer of these photos.
I want to know the testing process that people went through to find out the taste and texture for this.
Oh,
Okay,
my.
That's a good question.
Because with all the vegan meat and everything, they have to try this out and everything. But okay, the human flesh aspect of it, how do you get that taste?
So when they're like,
right?
a little salt
Yeah.
here. Add some more salt.
It tastes like does it taste like me? Does it taste like me? Oh my gosh. All right. So we are 100% at the top of the hour.
Oh,
That went so fast. Oh my gosh.
did.
Time flies when you're talking about eating people.
Oh,
Wait,
doesn't
okay,
it?
wait. I've got one more question. Time out.
Yeah,
I
please.
know Lauren already said this. What kind of career did the guy who was going to be eaten? He was an engineer? Is that what
He was a
said?
computer engineer, and Armin Muse was like a computer, not an engineer, but something like that as well. They were both in the kind of like techie business.
They were
of
IT
that.
guys.
Yeah, they're both IT guys.
Think of that next time you call your ID department. Excuse me, I need to come.
I'll be asking them extra questions when I'm getting my computer fixed the next time. So
I'm gonna long story short the end of Armin here, just because I didn't get to finish.
Sure.
So he ends up running out of meat after a couple months. He had put it in the freezer. He ate it on the meat for about 6 or 8 months. So he started, I need a new person to eat. He put up another ad, and that's when someone saw the ad and they're like, this looks a little sketchy. So they reported him to the police. The police went in, found the meat, and they're like, what is this? And he was like, oh, that's wild boar. And they went back and looked at it and they're like, sir, is this human? He was like, yeah, okay, you got me. The videos are in there. Go watch them. They're great.
It's bored. No.
I got a really
You got
artistic
me.
angle on that one full shot.
So yeah, that's the main story in a nutshell.
I can't even. Oh my god!
I don't think that's supposed to be the reaction at the end of that story, but pardon me. The police found the sexy flesh and wanted to know if it was boar or human. Where do you go from boar to human? What? I'm just okay. And then my other question is this: going in and looking at it, what are the giveaways that that's a human?
I mean, know. I mean,
probably
bone shape.
The
possibly?
anatomy, absolutely the anatomy
Yeah.
of the.
I'm sorry, that looks like an arm. That's not really
That's right.
That's not a leg of lamb.
That
That's an
does
arm.
not have a hoof. That
The little
those are
fingers
fingers.
sticking up, Oh, that was a piggy. It was just a little piggy.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Y'all are welcome.
The wrap up with "in a nutshell" just did me in for the night. I have to say that. Oh gosh, I almost made you spit your wine or drink. Sorry.
It's okay. Pig versus long pig. He did say that we as in humans taste very pork-like. We taste very much like pig, but like if pig had a bit of more of like a spicier kind of flavor.
I'd like to be referred to as Spicy Pig from now on, just like for eternity.
It's like from here on out, we are Spicy Long Pig. If you're going to refer to us, we're Spicy Long Pigs.
That's right.
Oh gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Where do you go from that? Question. Do we have questions?
For our questions? Just for our viewers who happen to still be watching, I think we have like 1 minute left. Yeah, 1 minute. What was the creepy movie or show food scene that just sticks in your memory? What was the one that you're like, ugh, elf and the spaghetti.
And I made you lunch too.
Okay, so has anybody ever watched Binging with Babish? I'm just curious because I know Binging with Babish is a YouTube channel, and Babish basically creates movie food, and he did that. It's like, and I was going to bring it up earlier, but he did the Thigh and Clay from Hannibal, and he's done several recipes from horror movies, and he usually does that, I think, during the Halloween season. But he did do the spaghetti from Elf, and he said it was vile, absolutely vile. But
Oh gosh, I can imagine.
yes, I would highly, if you haven't found Binging with Babish, I would highly recommend. Hello, excuse me, I can't speak. Highly recommend the show. We did find the spinach puff recipe from Emperor's New Groove, and that is our that is our go-to. Yeah, it's so good. It is. So
Sounds good.
Another really good horror culinary kind of thing. I want to say it's called Practical Peculiarities. I'm on the spot, so my brain didn't want to work, but look him up on Instagram. His work is amazing.
Oh, and if we're talking horror and culinary, what was that show that was on Netflix? It only had one season, and it was like the goth girl.
You know this one.
Yeah, I know this one. The Christine McConnell.
Christine McConnell.
Yeah,
I adore her.
Good.
I did
Why was
too.
that canceled?
I don't know. It makes me so sad. I follow her Patreon. Oh my gosh, she's so incredible.
I was very sad.
Absolutely. Yes. Oh, no, our whole house was very sad because her show was a lot of fun, and oh, it was absolutely incredible. But I was trying so desperately to get Cabana Boy to make me some meat pies for this evening, and I did not get my meat pies.
Oh, there's a good horror culinary thing right there. Meat pies.
Miss Lovett's meat pies.
Right.
Best pies in London.
Best pies in London. Okay, sorry, I'm done.
I keep saying, I keep saying Miss Lovett's, but quite honestly, I'm really more of a Sweeney Todd. I'm Mr. Todd. So okay, we'll go with that. So
yeah, there's also that creepy like steak scene from Amityville Horror where it comes out and just ends up like puking rotten meat right before the face melting scene where he pulls his own face off.
Oh, that's Poltergeist, not Amityville.
Yeah,
sorry, Poltergeist.
Yeah, Poltergeist.
I knew exactly.
No, I was like, as soon as you said, as soon as you said the steaks again, I'm like, that's Poltergeist.
Don't come for me.
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm bad
with
with names of movies.
I have the Feeding Hannibal cookbook. Ooh. Of course you do. That's Magda.
I bought a beef heart to make the beef heart stew from it. That sounds delicious, and I would eat it in a heartbeat.
Beef heart.
I cannot. No, I will
when
not
you
eat a
go
heart.
to the butcher and you're asking the butcher for the.
Pardon me. Will you
heart.
please give me a beef heart so I can make it into
the
a
heart
stew
of that cow?
What is that like blood soup thing? It's like something blood soup that is always in like schmancy movies. I've always wanted to try it. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
I know there's blood sausage that's made with that actually has like blood, but
it's like
the
a soup.
I'm not sure of. It's like my brain is trying to float this to the surface.
You think of like turtle soup or something, or I don't know.
Oh, now you reminded me with turtle soup. Do y'all remember that Are You Afraid of the Dark episode with like the soup
blood stew?
Yes. Is it blood stew? Okay.
It's called blood stew.
I've always wanted to try it.
And then you bringing that up, the scene in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom where she stirs the soup up and the eyeballs float up.
Ew, and the monkey brains.
The monkey brains. The chilled monkey brains.
Magda responded. She knew exactly what it was. Pop that back up for 2 seconds, please, if you don't mind.
I want
Polish blood soup.
I want it.
It's
or blood pudding. What is that? I've always wondered what that is. Is it not
black
actually
sausage.
blood?
It's black pudding is a blood sausage pudding. So, pig's blood soup from the Philippines.
It's nicknamed chocolate meat.
Does it taste like chocolate? Probably not.
I'm sure it does not.
Well, I really hate to wrap this episode up because we are officially a few minutes over the top of the hour. And I wanted to say, first of all, thank you, Abby, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast.
Thank you.
I hope I wasn't too jittery with the nerves.
No, not at all. We thought you were wonderful.
There's nothing to be nervous about. We just talk about eating people. I mean,
and see, when that started, I relaxed. I worry that says something about me.
No, as soon as we started talking about eating people and gross stuff, everything got calm.
Right.
Let's imagine that.
Ain't that just the way?
Of course, yes. with this group, yes. Of course, I want to say thank you to Johnny and to Back of the Cereal Box for hosting us every couple of weeks, every 2 weeks. And if you want to make a donation or if you want to support our show, we do have a Buy Me a Coffee. And the good thing about Buy Me a Coffee is you can support the entire network, or you can designate it to a specific show, or you can designate it to a specific host. If you loved Lauren's show tonight or Lauren's story tonight, and your show too, go ahead. All right, it's all of our show. But if you love Lauren's portion of the story and you want to give her a tip, there you go. Designate it to Lauren, and she will get her tip. Also, want to thank the Cabana Boy, who is Toy Robot Visual Arts, for helping us out behind the scenes. So thank you. Our next show coming up, I know I have the date, but it is on the 28th. And we are actually going to be talking about Epilepsy Awareness Month. And we're going to have some information about how epilepsy actually plays into horror culture, and because there's a lot of different avenues that we don't think about, and I think that'll be a very, very interesting show. But Grace Hughley is our guest that evening, and so I look forward to that. So, Abby, if people want to find you, where would they find you at?
If you want to find me on Instagram, you can find me at Abby Normal Pinup, or the hashtag Abby Normal Halloween will lead you to much of my culinary adventures for the season. On Facebook, I believe it's Pinup Abby Normal is the facebook.com/Pinup Abby Normal. I also recently started a TikTok, but being honest, I only have 2 videos on there. Mostly because I'm just like so technology, like, oh darn, I really need to do this, but I haven't yet.
Duet with Lauren. Yeah. Call Lauren. She's the queen of TikTok.
Friendly. I'm looking you up, girl.
And with that said, I want to say good evening and pleasant screams. And we'll see you next time.